Hello, and welcome to the series premiere of Out of Bounds with the Ref. I'm your host, Rashawn E. Forrest, the Ref. The purpose of this show is to highlight the positive endeavors of athletes and those who work with athletes. Yes, glorifying what an athlete does in their respective sporting event is exciting, but there is so much more to an athlete than just their athleticism. Whether it's excelling academically, having a business, working in their community, or they have an inspirational, unique story, you can hear about it all right here. In this episode, an organization that is all about basketball, community, and influencing the lives of the young people in their community through the game of basketball is featured. There are many ways kids spend their summer vacation. Some travel with their families, some are sent away to go spend time with other family members, and then some play basketball. Kingston Hoops Summer Sizzle is an organization that started in 2006 at Block Park to help the young people with the fundamentals in life and change their image in their community. The founder and executive director of Kingston Hoops Summer Sizzle is Charlene Lede Hill. Although she did not play sports growing up, she understood the importance of participation in athletics for young people.
I was an egghead in high school. Growing up in Louisiana, I wasn't really allowed to play sports. Wasn't considered, I guess, the most ladylike thing back then. But I always loved sports. I always loved watching basketball. That was one of my favorites. And then, of course, watching football, those types of sports. And so I always liked sports, and I knew how important sports was to young people in their development. I just never got the chance to ever really play any. Well, being number one, being a female and growing up in Louisiana, Southern women are perceived to, you have to be a certain way. And I think it's kind of funny, my grandmother had that mindset when it came to sports, but like when I think of all the women on my mother's side of the family, the Arsenal women, they all were very independent women, meaning their existence didn't depend on their husbands. Their livelihood didn't depend on the type of job their husband had or what he did. Most women in the Arsenal family, I think about, achieved a lot on their own. My cousin Cynthia Arsenault, she's the first black valedictorian at LSU. My Aunt Kathy, if she would have stayed where she was in Baldwin, Louisiana, would have been the first black female chief of police in Baldwin, Louisiana. So when I think about just different women in my life on my mother's side, they were very independent. I think my grandmother just had this thing about sports and not being ladylike. I think in her mind, it wasn't something young ladies did. But then, because for her, it was chores. That was my life growing up in Louisiana. You did your schoolwork, you did your chores. That was it. Young people today probably couldn't survive what I grew up with.
Lede Hill lived in a city that offered a basketball league program, and her son participated in it. After moving to Kingston and learning that there was no such program in Kingston and seeing the need for the organization, she went to the politicians and officials of the city with the idea.
We lived in Beacon, New York for many years, and for my son, that was something we signed him up for every year. And when we moved to Kingston, we were surprised to learn there was not a summer league. And I remembered asking the politicians and everybody, hey, why don't y'all just do it, expand the program year-round? We kept getting told, oh, it's budget, it's this, it's that. Then one year, the mayor, who was Mayor Sizzle at the time, said, oh, if you could prove there's a need, then we'll consider it. I put together all these kids in the one age division, 12 to 18. So I had giants against midgets, and I had like over 100 kids sign up. And that was just the first day of putting it out there. I take the paperwork to Mayor Sizzle and Kevin Gilfeather, who runs the Parks and Recs department. And I said, okay, here y'all go. There's proof, there's interest. Y'all go ahead, do something with this. And they look at me and they're like, oh, since you've already got it started, you could go ahead and continue to run the league and we'll make sure the courts are ready for you. So needless to say, they tested my salvation that day, and I've been running it ever since.
But she hasn't run it totally alone. The forming of the organization was truly a community team effort.
I got together with a lot of people in the community, and God bless them, I had no clue what I was doing. I got with Sandy Thompson Hopgood, who ran the Hod Center at the time, and a couple of other community people to form a board and to basically make the league a 501c3 not-for-profit. And the McCombs, Aaron Fitzgerald, who's a police officer with Kingston PD, and we all had sat together at a table, and I remembered they mentioned Billy Chafin, and they're like, oh, if we can get Billy Chafin to help. I didn't know he was like this great legendary basketball player in Kingston. I'm not from Kingston, so I don't know who the Kingston legend athletes are.
I used to play ball, used to be nice. Played and coached. Let's see, started at the Biddy League level, worked my way up to Ulster County Community College. Left there to coach my daughter and help out AAU. Girls basketball as of right now, summer Sizzle program since '06, and just like coaching kids in general. Charlie McComb and his wife came to me one night. I was raking, cleaning my yard, and they said, we need you to help us start a basketball league in Kingston. I said, okay.
And so we formed teams, we got officials, we do the sign-ups, and Billy comes, and he literally takes it over. Like he's reffing, organizing the kids. He's like literally organizing a pickup game as we register kids. So that's how I got to meet him. And he kind of was explaining what needed to be done, what was wrong, what needed to be worked on. So he's like outlining all these things.
Like LaDay Hill, Coach Chafin has a real love for basketball, but his reason for working with the league is far beyond his own fulfillment.
Basketball has always been close to my heart, so I love basketball. Anytime I can participate in something, it's always fun. But the real reason is most of these kids can't go to Disney. And the bottom line is they don't get to go nowhere. And for the few that are fortunate enough to have families that can do things for them like that, take them places, that's wonderful. But what we do is say, look, bring your kids, we'll give them something to do, try and keep them busy, you know, and then when school gets back in, let that take over. But the real reason is, you know, a lot of them just don't get to do a lot of stuff. So the city gives us the courts, and we're lucky enough to have them help us out a little bit. We could use some more help, obviously, but the bottom line is we do it for the kids, bottom line.
A lot of time Kingston gets a bad rap, if you will, or I should say the young people in Kingston get a bad rap that's really not accurate. I think if people really look at Kingston, look at what our young people do, they will see that, you know, we've got a lot of future talent. Rachel Coffey, oh my God, I forgot what country she's going to be playing for. She was one of the first females players we ever had in Summer Sizzle in 2006. Even though the league was co-ed and always has been, parents were a little concerned about their daughters playing with boys. And I remember telling them, do you know who Rachel Coffey is? And they're like, of course. And I'm like, oh, well, come see her play. And when you see her play, tell me then if girls can't play with boys. And they would see Rachel on that court. She was poetry in motion.
Summer Sizzle was a long time ago when I first played, when it was down at Block Park. And, you know, I just got word from, I believe Rob told me about it, Rob Dassey. And, you know, a couple girls, it was me, Shataya, I believe that was in it. And we just all, everyone that I hung out with was in it. So that's how I got, you know, word and started playing in it.
The next year, I think we had gotten Shataya McCombs and Ariel. Oh my God, we'd gotten a lot. Like after Rachel, a whole lot of other great female basketball players came on board. And so Summer Sizzle kind of grew with the female athletes. That's why we have the Rachel Coffey Best Female Athlete Award named after her. Because we get now so many females that do want to play.
Well, the first year, I think last year was the first time I actually knew of it. I thought it was, you know, an honor basically to be able to have an award, and you know, from Kingston. That's the first time. That's the first award I had, you know, from anywhere. So it was just really nice. Especially I was able to, you know, present it and meet the girls and see how happy that they were for me to, you know, give it to them, which is really nice.
One of the females that joined the league was Alicia Davidson because she loved the game of basketball. She didn't want to join by herself, so she asked her brother.
So I can get better at basketball.
Okay.
Because it's fun.
Should be able to know more people and get it for my sister because she wanted to play.
Despite the fact that the femur in his right leg did not develop, he has no left arm, The forearm in his right arm is missing and only has 4 fingers on that hand. Caleb is determined and dedicated to being a player in the league.
Caleb Davidson is a pretty awesome kid. I remembered a few years back when the parents first called me to ask could he play. And I was concerned because of the severity of the handicap. And I asked the parents, I said, now, you know, is he comfortable playing sports? And the parents were like, oh yeah, he plays soccer. He plays apparently he plays a lot of other sports. And I was like, okay. I love the fact that the 8 to 10-year-old division, this is why I love them. They embrace Caleb. They don't really treat him any differently. They love him. They play with him just as fine. And you know, if nothing else, he proves that all you have to do is love the game of basketball. And he does represent Summer Sizzle in that way. You don't necessarily have to be the best player. You just have to love the game of basketball, and we'll find a way for you to play. And now in Caleb's case, obviously age-wise, he would technically be 11 to 14 division, but because of the handicap, and I did mention to the parents, and the parents were fine with him being 8 to 10. They said he can play 8 to 10 division as long as, you know, his size and everything would allow for it. So that was good to know, because like I said, he does have a severe handicap, being missing an arm and missing a leg. So to me, it wouldn't be fair to try to put him out in an 11 to 14 division, not with them being as competitive as they are. I just feel he does a great job with 8 to 10, and the fact that those kids embrace him the way they do, you know, and parents as well. Other parents actually, when they see Caleb on the court, they realize, wow, this kid really loves to play. And I love that, because now it brings parents back to understanding it's about your child loving the game of basketball. It's not about whether or not that child's going to be NBA or NCAA or any of that. It's about your child loving to play the game of basketball. And that's the good thing Caleb represents for this league and for the 8 to 10 division.
Alicia and Caleb aren't the only family members that play in the league together. Coach Chafin's daughter, Chloe, plays in the league.
But DeAndre Kirby, I know, comes to mind because him and his mother have been part of the league, oh God, yeah, almost since we started. DeAndre Kirby might be the one to come close to 10 years with us, because he did start when he was younger.
I'm learning teamwork, learning that one man is not gonna win everything. I think I got better as an overall player, mentally and physically.
The Coffee legacy has continued in the league with Rachel's brother, Jordan.
I like playing basketball, and because I did it almost my whole life. My sister Rachel is one of my role models.
I've been playing basketball since I was 4 years old. I just never tried another sport because I was so good in basketball when I was young. I always focused on basketball. So and then when I got older, basketball was like almost 24/7. So I couldn't really try another sport. I played at Kingston High School, and I graduated from there, and then I went to a full scholarship to Syracuse University. My biggest achievement is, just me getting a full scholarship to, a D1 school, a big, school, and now I'm going overseas to play basketball professionally. So that's probably, those two are my biggest ones, because I went to college for free. Now I'm going on, playing, doing what I love to get paid. I just think Summer Sizzle is a very good league, and I'm, very happy that it's still going on, for so many years, and it's just it's good. I just hope it never stops. I hope it keeps building, because it was definitely a great league.
With all the good that the league is doing in the community for youth, it still has issues, and shortage is a big one. Shortage in the number of coaches and shortage in funds.
We need more coaches. Coaches are the biggest problem for us every year, because it is a lot of time they volunteer. It's a lot of work. Our 2 championship coaches coach 2 teams. They coach 11 to 14 and 15 to 18 divisions. Billy Chafin and Nicole Kirby. They coach 2 teams every year just to even help out. And, and it is a lot. It's a lot to deal with 1 team, yet alone 2. So that's how stretched we are for coaches, where you got people trying to do 2 teams a season. because it's hard. We just can't get enough people to commit to coaching. That's why Billy Chafin has he has the most wins in Summer Sizzle history. He has the most wins out of all our coaches. He really is. I often wish the high school would change their policy about a basketball coach having to be a teacher, because I really feel Billy Chafin should be a coach at the high school. I really feel if he coached at the high school, oh my God, they would be in state every year. I'd put my paycheck on it. That's how sure I am they would really succeed. But who knows, maybe one day down the road they'll change their policy.
But I think it's my psychology training, the fact that I try to motivate a child to be better than themselves. And what I like to say is the only way you can get diamonds is with pressure. So you put enough pressure on them, all of a sudden you got diamonds instead of little kids again. And they're all wonderful. So
There is hope for the future of the league.
I hope to see, get real big. A lot of teams, hopefully a lot of girls, get in it. It would be nice to get its own girls league also. Just, have, it's nice for, girls to play with the boys, but to have its own league, just girls, then you have boys, because you go to different cities and there's a whole girls league, then there's, guys league, because sometimes you don't have it. Like when I'm growing up, I always had to play against guys because there wasn't enough girls to play, a whole league. So it'd probably be nice if more girls get involved.
We would love to one day be a program that goes beyond basketball. We would love to have other programs incorporated where kids, could get back to school gear at the end of the season in addition to their trophies. We would love for them to have a monthly clinic where they could play once a month and kind of keep their friendships and everything going that they've developed with the kids here over the summer. And these are things, again, we'd love to do, but funding is an issue. So without funding, you can't bring these things to pass like we would like.
Fundraising can be a challenge for the league. Along with the registration fee, they have canned shakes at the local supermarket and dinner cruises.
Next year, 2015, will be 10 years Kingston Hoop Summer Sizzle's been around. We keep getting more kids, more scholarships than actual funds. It will probably be a reduction in the number of kids we have because we average 150 every year. We'll probably reduce that in the 15 to 18 division because that's usually our bigger division for scholarships, is the older age division. But these things, again, have to get done. So that's going to be interesting how 2015 plays out. But we are looking forward to it. The kids look forward to it every year. We have parents that are willing to support us every year.
The fundamentals learned through participating in Kingston Hoop Summer Sizzle that can be vital to the use of everyday life, according to LaDae Hill, Coach Chafin, and Rachel are.
If you're trying to always hog the ball and not pass it or not, include your team, though, you're not going to be able to learn a lot of life's lessons. I'd like to think team sports teach the kids how to play with a team, how to be disciplined enough to take orders and listen, because these are going to be the tools you need as you grow up older to become a productive member in society. You're going to have to know when you have a job, you're going to have a supervisor. They're going to require certain things of you. They're going to tell you what to do. And, when you learn that early on, you actually can work a job and be a productive person in society because of a team sport, because you've already had that discipline.
I'm always giving them life lessons. I want them to always learn to be a good person. In the heat of the battle, when things are really rough and things are going, be calm, stay focused, and do your best. And I hope they remember that Coach was a warrior, never gave up, never gave in, and always fought for his team. So that's what we try.
You just got to be hungry. You just got to, want to accomplish, more. You don't want to settle for anything. Basically, it's a small town, so you have to make your name heard. Sometimes you might have to go out of town just to get your name heard. Like me, I had to play in Albany. I played for the City Rocks. So you just have to, go out, travel around. I had to do a lot of traveling, a lot of long nights, mornings, early. Just got to, play all the time. I was always here, always in the courts, doing nothing else but basketball.
1, 2, 3, hard work! Come on, man.
I hope you enjoyed hearing about what Kingston Hoop Summer Sizzle is doing in their community. To find out how to donate to the organization and or get your child involved in the organization, visit their Facebook page or contact the Executive Director, Ms. Charlene Leday Hill. On the next episode, I will be having a conversation with a veteran Navy man who is all about serving his community after serving his country. Be sure to keep the daylight in your life and those around you. Thank you for watching Out of Bounds with the Ref. If you know of an organization centered on sports or headed by a former or current athlete, or if you know of a former or current athlete that is excelling academically, in business, or changing their community that you think the world should be aware of, please contact Daylight Expression Productions.